All right, Shreveport, Bossier City. Simply once again from K945, Jazz Bristol in the house too. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Carly Rae Jepsen. First of all, one question. What's the story behind the music video with Tom Hanks and Justin Bieber? What's the story behind that music video?
It's a little bit of magic that happened in my life. It's hard to explain the order of events that led to Tom Hanks being there. But let's just say he's friends with my manager, Scooter. Yes, so that was helpful. And I guess they were at a dinner party and talking about how I had been politely stalking a couple different male leads that I had in mind for this role. And Tom Hanks was like, well, that's hilarious. Why don't you just ask me? And we were like, okay, please be in the video. That sounds wonderful.
That is awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Another question we had from somewhere in that section, relationship status? What's your relationship? I mean, do you want to go into that?
That's for me to know and you to wonder.
Okay. Just had it. So, what inspired you to be a songwriter? It's a good one, isn't it? It's like, wow.
Well, if we're going to go really back in history here, the first song I ever wrote, I have a bit of a hippie-ish mother, was a protest song. I was 9 years old. It was called Cutting Down the Big Trees. I don't think it would work too hot at radio. The trees were my initial inspiration, and then soon after that it turned to boys.
So, here's another one. What made you fall in love with music?
My parents, I think. I have a family who's weirdly passionate about music in a way that I didn't know was abnormal until I grew up and started visiting other friends' houses and realized, oh, your mother doesn't have like listening parties where you like pick apart lyrics of like Leonard Cohen and try to decide what he's saying. That's not normal to do. And we would do that on like an almost nightly basis. And before bed, my dad would always play guitar. I don't know, I became very involved very early on.
So what's your most embarrassing story? That one came from over there somewhere.
My most embarrassing story. Okay. I have a lot of embarrassing. I have like a whole suitcase of embarrassing stories, but I'll go with the first one that came to mind. We were recently, in the past year, I did a run of Cinderella on Broadway. Yeah, it was terrifying. It was especially terrifying the opening night because it's essentially the first night that you get to be on the stage with all the props and the costumes and all the actual other actors, and you get to run through it one time. And every other day, the month that I was preparing for this before that, you're in a little studio, the pumpkin is like a cardboard box, and you're just like pretending. But this day, you finally have all the props and everything. And someone was explaining to me, as I ran down the staircase in my 18-pound dress, that I'm wearing for the first time. And they say, listen, you plop your little shoe, you just like wiggle your toe out, and you leave it on mark number 4, on staircase number 3, on this beat, when the light hits it. And I was like, well, what's the trick? They're like, you just have to figure that out. I was like, okay. So I ran down, I hit it, and I kept running, and I thought, man, that was easy. I'm awesome. And then I saw a bird, or what I thought was a bird, in the theater. And in fact, I had looped my shoe into my big toe and kicked the shoe into the audience.
Wow.
I'm like a dangerous Cinderella.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
No, it's pretty scary, but yeah, thank you.
Did anybody lose an eye over that one?
No, but I was like, does that happen a lot? They're like, no, that never has ever happened, and that can't happen. You can't do that. I was like, okay, I'm so sorry.
So, what was it like? Now, this is going back to Call Me Maybe, okay?
Yeah.
What was it like whenever your song started showing up on all of those YouTube videos, starting up like, the first one I remember, the Harvard baseball team. What was that like for you as an artist to see that just kind of explode virally?
I mean, it was pretty great. I can remember we were just kind of kicking it in Canada, and I was pretty excited that it had made to top 11 on the iTunes charts in Canada. And I remember thinking, like, we should probably throw a party. This is pretty great news. And then what do you know, like 4 months later, it was like #1 in 27 countries, and we're just like, how is this real life? What's happening? Yeah, so we were very starstruck and excited. Actually, Tavi here, who's with me, was one of the writers of Home Movies.